Welcome, friends. This is Mike Hayes with you. I'm live on Instagram here and going to be joined momentarily by my associate, Dr. Jeffrey Garner. And this is a really exciting week. This is the launch week for our book, Real Happy Jesus, Surprising Path to Genuine Joy. And Jeff and I actually have some things today that we're going to talk about that are really important and that are going to be a part of what you hear today and what you see. And Jeff is joining me now from California. I hope for us in Dallas for a few days, but we're going to cover. This is not going to be a commercial for the book today. This is going to be a teaching, really, of sorts. Jeff, it's good to see you, my friend, from the San Francisco Bay. And in honor of you and I's time together today, I had a piece of sourdough bread this morning with a little bit of salted butter and toasted. And I don't care what they say, if your diet doesn't work to have sourdough bread, it's not a diet I'm ever going to do. I love me some bread. So I'll do without other things, but I really like a good piece of bread.
Yeah.
Now, I know Jesus said you can't live by bread alone. So I had some salad as well, but love my bread. Hey, how is the weather there for you? It's really been cold in Dallas.
It's been cold, but not like Dallas. It's been overcast, and we had tremendous amount of rain over the weekend, and now it's just cloudy. So
Okay.
yeah, but to your sourdough bread moment, that's wonderful. Did you know, by the way, just interesting little fact here, Bodine, the San Francisco sourdough bread company, they started in 1949. So it was like right during 1849, right during the gold rush. And they had the what they called the mother dough.
Yeah.
And that mother dough, the cultures of that mother dough have been alive since 1849 to the present.
Yeah, that's the yeast, I guess. And
Yes, yeah,
that's what can't be
yeah.
replicated. That's amazing.
In fact, during the '06 quake, when the fires were the '06 quake, 1906 quake, when the fires were burning down the city, their little bakery was going up in flames, and Miss Bodine ran in and rescued in a burning building, rescued the mother dough, rescued it so they could keep that going on. So
Well, that's amazing, and I'm glad. I tasted in every bite, and I'm happy for it. It's amazing. Now I'm making people hungry that are on with us today. So, gonna give a shout out to all you who join us. Take a minute and give somebody a bump and tell them to get on with us. We'll be on for about 30 minutes today, and we're going to talk about some good things. First of all, Jeff, let's talk about what this week is going to look like, because you and Miss Deborah are traveling to Dallas to join Kathy and I later this week. What day are you coming?
we fly out on Thursday. We leave, I think, Thursday at 1 or noon or something like
Good,
that from here. Get in
good.
Dallas. We're really excited.
Well, it's wonderful. So for those of you who don't know, we're having a big launch party for the book on Saturday evening, 6:30 to 9:30. And you can come by. It is an RSVP thing. We can get you an invite if you'd like. If you haven't been invited, we want you to come by. We have to limit it somewhat because we have limited facility, food is served, etc. But anyway, I'll also be, along with yourself, Jeff, we will both be ministering at Covenant Church on Sunday at both campuses, both South and North Campus. You and I will be speaking on the 28th on Sunday. And we'll also, friends, have stacks and stacks of Real Happy books. So we want you to get your very own, and Jeff and I will be on site to sign them for you and to wish you well. And so we'll mention a couple things maybe toward the end, Jeff. But let's jump into this and talk a little bit about our journey, yours and mine, uh, that brought this book about. Uh, I'll just say a brief word without going into a lot of detail, and I'll come back and tell you about some of the changes that have taken place in my life. I don't say this in a condemnatory way at all, Jeff, but I've been in ministry for years and years, decades. And I don't know on the happiness scale where I was at, but I was not fully happy, and certainly not as much as now. And that's not a giddy, silly, flighty happy. That's a deep, settled peace and joy and right standing with God. And that's what Jesus said the kingdom was made of: righteousness, peace, and joy. In fact, Jeff, I'm not sure what you think about it, but I'm not sure it's not in that order. Because when you get the righteousness factor settled and know that you have become righteous through the perfect record of Jesus, then you're filled with peace and have room for joy. I don't know if it's in that order, but it is for me. Because I tell you, if you're striving for righteousness, that's a miserable path. And I will say this, not to strike a blow against any other religion, but the world's leading religions, none of them accompany Christianity on the journey to righteousness through God and his own sacrifice. All of them are based on a performance-driven striving to be good enough to please their version of God. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely agree. I think we talked about this back at beginning of December. We were talking about how all the religious systems, again, not to be overly critical of other religions, but all of them, when you look at their days of celebration, or what we call holy days, their holy days, they are days that their most significant holy days are days that focus on, fasting and repentance, some form of fasting and repentance, or making amends or rights with God, which may include everything from a list of things. Islam has its 5 pillars, Judaism has its 10 commandments, Buddhism has its eight paths. And so there's all these things that you're doing in order to kind of alleviate this sense of guilt that we have, or sense of shame. And yet when you come to Christianity, its calendar is replete with celebrations of joy that have to do with, that's why it's called good news and not list. It's not a list of things to do, but it's a news of things that have been done, that has been done for us. So you have the celebration of Christmas, which is news about God coming to us and Jesus and the incarnation. You have the news of Good Friday, and the news of Easter Sunday, and the news of Pentecost Sunday, and all of these are activities of God coming into history. The salvation history, God coming into history and doing something to change our lives and our world, and engage us in a relationship. And so we're always called on the other side of what God's doing to rejoice. The angels tell the shepherds, go rejoice. After Jesus rises from the dead, there is this sense of, he is alive, he is risen, he is risen. There's this spreading of the joy. And then when the Spirit is poured out, there is this sense of, it is joy unspeakable. It's ecstatic joy, and it just builds and builds and builds. And so I agree with you. It's one of the reasons why I feel so passionate about the message that we've been tasked with. I feel the Spirit has tasked us with this message of joy, that it's not just a book that we've written, it's a message whose time has come. And it's something I feel that the church at large and universal really is being invited to recover and be the joy, be the expression of God's delight in the world around us, because of what God's done for us. Going back to your point of this right, this being made right with God has a rhetorical effect, right? It's if I tell a joke, the rhetorical effect is laughter. And I think the rhetorical effect of being made right with God is rejoicing. It's
Yeah.
being happy. It's celebration. It's the woman that finds the lost coin and she has to tell all of her friends and throw a party because she found the coin.
Yeah.
Or the good shepherd who finds
Yeah.
the lost sheep and tells all of his friends and they rejoice.
Luke
Or
15.
the prodigal.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
son comes home and the fatted calf is slaughtered and the great party ensues. All of those stories involve restoration, righteousness that results in great celebration. You know, Jeff, one of the most I don't know if I should use terrorize it or not. That feels like a really strong word, but I'm concerned, and I would say this as a self-admission to pastors and leaders: if the people in your congregation over which you preside and lead are not fully maximized in their happiness, in my case, it would have been because I wasn't. So how can I lead a church full of people into fully maximized joy if I am not myself? And without making any judgments, I'm just telling you, I think a whole lot of leaders are not fully maximized into happiness themselves. And it's really hard to lead someone there when you've never been there.
Yeah.
And you're not there. And we want to get into this just a little bit, Jeff, because I can tell you that of the several books I've written, this book is unique in that the other books were messages that I felt like were important to me and that God had energized to my spirit. And I had taught them and I had sermonized them and I had done series and I'd traveled and spoken other places about them, taught my church in classes about them, and then wrote a book. This assignment came to me on the Mount of Beatitudes there in Israel, as you know, and when the Lord impressed my heart to write a book on this, my first near rejection was it just felt too trivial to be God. God is, I need to write about big subjects. God is not that interested in our happiness.
Right.
Right. How ignorant I was. Because, Jeff, this book I've written, we've written, you've written, has been an exploratory, educational, explosive, beautiful revelation that I didn't know when I started writing this. I didn't write this as the happiness expert. I know so much more now, and I am so much better for it. That's the best way I know how to say it.
Yeah.
I am so much better for the understanding I've gained. And I just hope, Jeff, that you and I's combined effort, and I know that you did such a beautiful job through difficult circumstance. I mean, we've both been through a lot in the last number of years that we've been working on this book. Sometimes we just had to put it on the shelf and take care of business of life, whether it was losing someone close to us or a relational issue or a church sideways or COVID shutting the whole world down. We just had to set it on the shelf and make life happen till we could pick it back up. But I want to thank you for your efforts. And I want to tell you that I believe I've never been more stoked about a message because I think it's going to change people's lives like it has changed ours.
Yeah. It's exciting to be a part of that. I think, I'm just reflecting on some of the challenges that I went through in this process. And I would agree with you, at least for me, it was a learning experience. That I was not, I would agree with everything that you said. Like I thought happiness was too trivial of something that should be, there's more subjects I felt
Right.
that were a little bit deeper. They were probably a little bit more empowering or something. That's what I thought. And, when you asked me to join with you and write this, I did it out of a sense of love for you and wanting to do something with you. But in the back of my head, I kept thinking, this isn't my message. This is something that Mike feels really strongly about, and it's an opportunity for me to work alongside of Mike. And so, yes, I'm gonna do it. But that quickly changed. I think, like within the first, 4 chapters of us researching the first 4 chapters, I realized this is a much bigger deal than what I've ever given it credit for being. Like joy and happiness, God's happiness, is a significant. Without it, our religious experiences are fruitless and almost meaningless. It becomes that significant of a work in us. So I would agree with you. I think, and I'm not sure what the moment was for me. I'm like thinking back where the moment was. If it was researching Makarios, I think the moment for me was really reading the moment of Jesus's baptism, like reading the moment. And up to that point, I don't know that I had understood the joy that was happening, the Father's joy over the Son. I don't know. I was just like John the Baptist. Something has to be done to fulfill righteousness. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. But the more I looked at that moment, I thought, we're missing this. Mm-hmm. When I see the heavens being torn open, it's like the heavens are the shirt on the chest of God, and it bursts open with pride, right? Just, and out comes this dove, and it's just this delight and this joy and when I think reading it in that context, I was like, I have missed so much of what both the gospel was its intended effect that it was to have. I've missed, and I want that. I want a recovery of that personally. I want to live in that joy. I want people to sense and feel that I'm walking about in the joy and in the delight of a Heavenly Father. I want that.
Well, Jeff, it is life-changing, and I know it's going to be for others. I just wanted to mention, I see a lot of people that are joining us and are mentioning can't wait to get theirs or can't wait to get theirs signed. And a couple have said, I got mine, I ordered mine on Amazon. So what I understand is the 25th, which is this Saturday night, a Thursday, right? Thursday night. Thursday was the official day given to us by Amazon that it would be launch day. Apparently Amazon, which thank God, they got them early instead of late. And there are a few people that have gone on Amazon and been able to buy one, and that's great. The official launch is Thursday, but if you want to go on and buy one, you can. And when you do, please do this. Read the book, and then whether it takes you 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months, please write a review to Amazon that's positive, because our motivation, guys, is to get this to the world that needs it. There's never been a greater need and a more important hour to find real happiness than now. I see Dave DeFrancesca joined us. He's a pastor down in Southeast Texas, and he bought a number of them this week from us and other leaders. Dr. Faith Frederick, nice to see that you joined us today. So good to have pastors on here. Damon Scapin in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Nice to have you, Damon. I wanted to mention to you leaders, if you would agree to buy a number of books in bulk, maybe 100 or 50 or 20 or whatever, then Jeff and I want to help you any way we can with a special thing to help promote those in your life and your ministry, your church. If we can film something to be sent to your church and played for your church when you distribute them, or if you want to give us an invite and we'll get it on the calendar to come to your church and speak on the subject and then have the books there to sign, we're at your disposal. Jeff and I have committed 2024 to the message of this book and the promotion of this book and the distribution of this book. In fact, Jeff, I felt such a strong urge last night. I almost got up in the middle of the night, but I'm going to check on it today. I want this book in Spanish ASAP, because we have contacts with Hispanic leaders all over the world that their congregations need this book. And so the first language we're going to add, other than English, will be Spanish. And we're going to get this book out as soon as we can in Spanish. And those of you who would enjoy that, listen, Jeff, I don't know if I told you this or not, but this was cute. You remember you and I filmed a holiday greeting for Christmas and New Year's
Right.
there in the lobby of our offices.
Right.
So Monaco, that does technical stuff for us, he was showing me how AI can add languages. So I spoke on this app long enough that it learned my voice. So then he took the video of my greeting and had me speak Spanish through AI. And within a couple of hours, I had over 2,000 responses from Hispanic people that were having a big time with me speaking Spanish, greeting them for Christmas and the New Year. And it
Awesome.
was so sweet, but it also showed me how important it is to us to get this book out in other languages.
Yeah.
So we'll get it out in a number of languages. And if you want us to get it out in Spanish and you're listening or watching today, let us know. And what other language you'd like to see us do it in. And also, if you're a leader and we can help get this in mass to your congregation, please go on Amazon, buy however many copies you want on Thursday, read the book, and then give us a good review. Jeff, did you, if you were finished telling us about some of the impact the book had on you, I'd like to take a minute here before we finish up and tell people, and I want to be reminded, the two Greek words, one is for happiness, one is for joy. And I thought it was interesting the way you and I learned that the centuries have changed the meanings where they've almost been transposed. Because in our society, I even had a pastor say to me, you know, I really want joy, but happiness is based on the word hap or happen, and it's just kind of lucky and it's flighty and it comes and goes. What we learned is it's just the opposite. In scriptural days, happiness was really the solid base, and joy was sort of fleeting and ha ha ha, and then the next day you're in a bad mood. So now it's been flipped. But in biblical time, and when Jesus was teaching on it, happiness was the stronger word than joy, really, in that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Makarios, which is the word that gets translated blessed in the Beatitudes. In most of our English translations translate Makarios as blessed. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the pure in heart. But Makarios has a rich Greek history that goes back to the time of Socrates, 500 years before Jesus. Makarios was, Socrates really took philosophy, which was, these people that would get together and they would discuss wisdom, the love of wisdom. They would get together and happiness became the thing that they began to put all of their efforts in. Like, let's discuss happiness. Makarios, and that was the word they used. There was a lot of discussion about from Socrates and then Plato and Aristotle. There was a lot of discussion about how happiness was connected to Makarios is connected to the good life. It's something that happens, of course, for them, for the philosophers, it was related to virtue. So it was a spiritual kind of a sense of joy. It was something that was connected to living a certain kind of life. So when Jesus gets up and uses that word, this is a word that's been used in Greek over and over. And by the time it reaches the hills of Galilee, it's spread wide and it's trending all over the world. Like, this is something people really want. Joy, although it's used a lot in Hebrew, in the Hebrew scriptures, but joy was more or less connected with the emotion of it. Like we were told to rejoice is used a lot. So the verb of joy is used a lot as something that we're supposed to
Right.
do and engage in. So that's kind of the emotion of it, where happiness is more of the spirit of it. Makarios is more of the spirit, and kara is more of kind of the emotion of it.
Yeah.
And I think both of them are like, they're both part of,
Yeah.
Christian liturgy and Christian teaching.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't think we didn't make a big differentiation in the book because we didn't find one. Some people want to make a whole different translation between happiness and joy. They're actually, it's kind of hard to dissect them and lay them out side by side when you separate them because they are intertwined, really. But I thought with the points you made about Makarios, and we bring this out in the book, was so powerful that in the Greek culture, Makarios was a happiness really only attained or attainable by the gods.
That's right.
It wasn't for a commoner.
Right.
You weren't going to be happy. You were going to struggle, sigh, cry, and die till your life was over. But the gods enjoyed this unbelievable happiness. Well, then when Jesus uses the word on the Mount, teaching the Beatitudes, it was a pop culture word, Makarios, but it was thought to be unattainable by the common. And Jesus is teaching farmers and vineyard keepers and housewives and maids. And he says, you can have this kind of happiness that the Greeks thought was only for the gods. But I'm going to present to you a kind of happiness that's for every one of you. If you're a cobbler, or if you're a student, or if you're a widow, or if you're a soldier, you can have happiness that was only attainable by the gods under the culture of the Greeks and then the Romans. That changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah. He redistributes it to the people that are poor in spirit, hungering and thirsting. Like the language even that he uses is very common. A meek person, a merciful person.
Yeah, mourning. I mean, the gods don't mourn. The gods have no problems. But even when you're mourning, you can be happy because the comfort that God gives you is so much greater than the cause of your mourning.
That's right.
That changed my life too. Every one of these concepts changed my life. And as you all can tell, I hope we're really happy about it. Well, Jeff, let's have a couple of closing thoughts. And then for all of our friends, we'll be back next Monday for Happy Talk Monday. We're going to start in a few weeks having guests that you will really want to pay attention to who we have, because they're going to be really interesting to get some behind the scenes conversation with some great people that you admire. But thank you, Jeff, for your time. I look forward to seeing you in just a few days. We're going to have a great weekend together. And I hope if you're not in the Dallas area, if you can travel here, come and be with us. It's going to be an unbelievable happy celebration on Saturday evening and Sunday, all services at Covenant Church, both Carrollton and McKinney South and North campuses, and some churches that are going to carry it live. So we'll have a great time. Looking forward to seeing you and Deborah, Jeff, and many of you that are on the call here with us on live on Instagram with us live. We'll see you as well. And some of you we won't, because you're across the country or even in other countries, but we'll be back. Jeff, we're committed to this every Monday. Happy Talk Monday.
Yep. I'm excited, really excited. Can I just remind everybody that you've already said, that, of course, that they could purchase the book on Amazon. They could do it today. We've because of our marketing team in New York has requested that we keep it on one day to launch it, the 25th, because they're wanting to hit bestseller status. So I want to say thank you for all the encouragement that we've got in this journey. It has been that's been one of the significant joys in all this. I feel like there's been a cloud of witnesses that have been just cheering on the message and the timing and the opportunity that's coming with the project. And so it's made me feel, I think each morning I'm waking up with a little bit more gratitude, more and more and more. It's kind of, it's getting exponential, that sense of gratitude. And so I'm just incredibly thankful for everyone that's been cheering us on and, a part, because as you've said, and I've said, it's bigger than our message. It's bigger than our book. I feel like this is a message whose time has come, and we're on the tip of the spear, and we're able to be part of something. I feel like that God is doing globally with the sense of joy and his happiness.
I believe it, and thank you, Jeb, for thinking of that, and I add my voice to that. God bless all of you that have been a part of this, and this is exciting. You know, we have over 1,000 people. What happened early on is we decided to invite people to be a part of getting the word out with us and for us. So we opened a URL called I'mRealHappy.com. We still have that, and we're going to keep that because it evolved into what we're now calling the Happy Army. And we have over 1,000 people signed up in the Happy Army, which means that everything this becomes, and we believe it's going to become an unbelievably powerful movement, a tsunami of joy and anointing of happiness. You can join the Real Happy Army, and we're going to keep you up to date on everything going on. We're also going to do some book signings and et cetera around the country, and we'll keep you involved and up to speed on that. We're also going to send you out gifts and offers. And Jeff and I are working right now on free resources that if you buy the book, you're going to get free resources that we're just going to send to you that would be exclusive to those who bought the book. So we're working on 12 of those. We have 2 or 3 of those finished and others in the works. You're going to have devotionals. You're going to have blessings through specialized prayers. We got merchandise coming, bookmarks and hats and shirts. I like one of the shirts that says, it says happy hour, and its hour is crossed out and says life, happy life, because happiness is not just for an hour, right? When you get the real thing. So we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. Jeff, we love you so much, man, and our love to Deborah, and we'll see you guys in a couple days.
Yes.
And for all of our friends that have been on here with us, we love every one of you. Help us spread the word, and we'll see you next time, okay? Bye-bye.